News Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro. The views and opinions on this show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of WGNS, its management, other hosts, or advertisers.
Hello, everyone. Edwin Lee Raymer with you on the Ed Raymer for the Edwin Lee Raymer Show here again at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. We're glad to be with you. And we have another very special guest who's with us. And he has been out beating the bushes, hitting the bricks on the streets. Louis Mata. Louis, will you pronounce your name? How are you?
Yes, sir. Doing all right. And
very
always
good.
A pleasure to be here with you. Luis Mata. That is
correct.
Luis
Mata. You are running for House of Representatives, 49th District.
That's correct. The Fighting 49.
The Fighting 49, yeah. A lot of fights around 49. How are you doing? It's a lot different than it was. You were here a couple months ago, I believe, just talking off the top of my head.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So since then, we've been hitting the ground running, and
you're doing it the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way. Back to the basics. That's
Back
right.
to the basics.
Yes, sir.
Pressing the flesh, yeah.
Yep.
Shaking hands.
Yep.
Telling lies, telling lousy jokes. Laughing at people's lousy jokes. Yeah, that's right. Well, you got to do what you got to do, No, I'm telling you. I've never run for office, and as you very well know, I always say this, and I sound like a broken record, I know, but I admire anyone that puts their name on a ballot. Now, this is the first time you've ever done this, right?
That's correct. First-time candidate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I hear your family is very excited about this.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, they tell you if you don't have a why, then you don't know what you're fighting for, right?
Right,
and
sure.
For me, my why, I mean, my greatest inspiration has always been my mother, and
right.
As a single immigrant mother, she instilled in me the values that I carry with me through the campaign. And
that's right.
She's extremely excited every single day. We get on the phone, we catch up, and my little brother, my little sister, they're excited. It's an exciting moment.
Now, she does not live here, correct?
Correct.
She's in Knoxville? Or?
That's exactly right. Yes,
okay,
sir.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And we wish her the best. I hope she's listening tonight.
Yes.
And Miss Mata, we have little Luis here, and we're taking very good care of him. And I'll tell you what, if we can, I want to give you maximum yield of your time on this, and I'm going to have Jackson go ahead and kick us off if you could, please. But for right now, my name is Edwin Lee Raymer, and yes, I am still a private investigator. Welcome aboard.
This is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show with your host, Ed Raymer, on your Good Neighbor station, News Radio, WGNS.
And that's a little rock and roll to kick off your Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. This is Edwin Lee Raymer Show, and I'm your host, Ed Raymer, and this show is produced right here at the studios of WGNS AM 1450, 100.5, 101.9 FM, right here in the heart of the great volunteer state in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now, you can reach me and Luis tonight with your questions, your comments, your thoughts at 615-893-1450. That's 615-893-1450. Now, you can also send us a text at that number. I'm sorry, you cannot. Jackson told me about this last time. You can send it to my personal phone if you'd like. 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. And we'll be glad to read it over the air for those of you that may be a little bit shy and not want to be heard on radio. Okay. Now, you can listen to us or you can watch us at Facebook Live. You can watch us on YouTube at News Radio WGNS. We're on there right now, live, and you can pull up all of my old shows on there, the ones that we've had up to for several months now since we've been doing YouTube Live. And all you got to do, believe it or not, just go to YouTube and type in Ed Raymer Show, and it will magically pull it up. If you'd have told me 10 years ago when I first came up here to be on radio, we would be doing live television, I'd have said, man, every TV set in this county will be broke, but or every camera will. Jackson was adjusting the camera a while ago, and he said, "I want to make it." I said, "Could you pull that off? Make me look maybe a little not so old." He said, "How do you feel about Cleveland?" And I said, well, I didn't mean to go that far with it, but you can watch us there. We're there, and then my wife listens on Alexa, Stitcher, all the others. You can find us, Edwin Lee Raymer, Raymer, and you can also download the WGNS app and take WGNS with you wherever you go and listen whenever you wish. Check out Angela Bingham. Check out Through the Week, Jason Qualls. Jason gives financial advice and does a great job, and has great guests too, people that really know what they're doing, not just a bunch of yayas out here just bumping their gums to get attention. These guys and gals know their stuff. So check them out. I've got a young man here that knows a lot more now, I think, than he did several months ago. What have you learned, Luis?
So much, Ed.
And, what are you hearing from the people?
As we were saying, right, we are doing this back to the basics, right? Meeting people
right.
where it matters most.
Right.
At their doorstep, in the community, asking them, what issues do you care about, right? What is important to you? And it's both disheartening, but also enlightening and brings so much hope when they say, this is the first time in my 20, 30, 40, 50 years living here that someone has come to me and has asked me what I care about.
I told Steve, a good friend of yours who's becoming a good friend of yours, and he's one of the best to have, Stephen Reynolds, who I spoke to earlier, and he's behind you. He said, "Tell you hello." He's there. He's probably listening tonight. And he went down this road for the House of Representatives, Scott Desolet, in Washington, and he and his wife campaigned very, very hard for 4 years, and he put his name on a ballot twice. And, you learn so much just strictly going through the process,
Oh, yeah.
And, it's, I'll never put my name on a ballot. I feel I can do more here than I could out there. I want to help as many people as I can, and I try and do that through this little broadcast that we do every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And I think we're making a difference, because I'll run into people all through the week that, hey, I heard the guy you had on Sunday night, and he's, I think he may have a future. Or sometimes it doesn't go that. Sometimes, hey, that kid doesn't have a chance at all, But most of them will be positive responses. Most people are very nice. And, I'm just glad to know that you're still in it. Your attitude is good. And, like I said, you're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yes, sir. No. I mean, we hear there's been a common thread, right? Every single day. We're out there. We're out there every single day, almost all day, every day, having these conversations. And, the common thread is the desire for a government that actually has our backs, right? For far too long, people have disengaged with politics, have disengaged with this idea that, government should work for working people, right? And
sure,
that's what we hear time and time again.
I know what I was going to say if you'll bear with me, because I lost track a second ago. We got talking about Stephen. You were talking about people never coming to the door, and I told Stephen the other day when we were talking, I said in 27 years living where we've lived, how long it's been, I don't know, I think it's 25, 26 years. One person has showed up to ask, hey, I'm running for whatever it was.
Yeah.
And people just, they think you can put a few ads on Facebook and maybe an ad or two on the radio and put a couple of yard signs out and, hey, I'm running for office. Well, as you found out, there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, yeah. And that's the foundation of our campaign, is having those real, authentic, face-to-face conversations. You know what I mean? And it's
what's on your mind?
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
What do you care about? What do you want your state leadership to focus on, right? And we do that before we even go into it and saying what our priorities are, right? Because what we learned, and one of the things you asked me what I've learned. One of the things was those priorities, right? We can't do a campaign. We can't be at the state legislature if we don't have the people's concerns and priorities at the forefront. We are, state representatives. I'm running to be a state representative, and that means having these conversations, these real conversations, not just as you mentioned, right, on Facebook or these ads, but it's actually having these conversations with people at where it matters most, and in the
on their
community.
front porch, or on their back porch, or at their kitchen table, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you said it perfectly. The issues that we hear time and time again are these kitchen table issues of, hey, for far too long, our current leadership has been kicking the can on our growth. They've been kicking the can on our public education.
Right.
And it's these issues that you hear about, and that's what we do, right? Because we can't say, here's our priorities if they're not in alignment with what we're hearing from people in the community, right? So at this point in time, what we've learned is exactly what, partisanship aside, right, what it is that people want their state leadership to tackle, right? What do they want to see?
And having the guts to go tackle it.
Exactly. Yeah. That you said it perfectly, right? It's about rolling up your sleeves, going up there, and getting things done.
Right. And if you're in Congress, it's a little different than being in the Senate, because in Congress you run every 2 years, and you are in touch with your local people.
Yeah.
And instead of, your people working for you, your constituency, you've got a bunch. You look at it as though, hey, these are my employers, and there's a bunch of them out there, and they've been disgruntled employers for the most part, because you can tell. Because now that is one thing that Brian Barrett and I have in common when we set at the election results was Alan Farley turns them in, and we go up there on election night. We'll be there again. 9% turnout, 10% turnout. Man, if we hit 12. That would be unbelievable,
Right.
And I just, it's people have just, like used to be, they're not engaged. They haven't been, and hopefully that's starting to turn around. Because goodness gracious, as you and I were talking before we came in here, look what happened from a month ago.
Oh yeah.
Man, and that is.
Yeah.
Now that's what trickle down politics, like we were talking about, can do for you. That's not trickle down economics. That excitement is real. It is real, and so proud of President Biden and what he did, because man, that must have been tough for him to do, because he has never been a quitter.
Yeah.
And
No, I think the thing is that for far too long, as we were talking about, right? For far too long. Politics has become a thing that just feels so, as I said, taboo to talk about. Like, like it's too polarized. Like, we can't, engage in this. No, like,
yes, you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
it should be something that we engage with. It affects and impacts our daily lives, right? Every single thing that we do is impacted by the decisions that our leaders make.
Especially a House of Representatives, a representative in the House. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And one of the big things that we're really trying to focus on is, as you were talking about, the voter turnout, and
sure,
it's. I mean, let's be honest, right? It's very, very low. Right.
It's roughly 10%, more or less. Yeah,
exactly. Tennessee ranks at the bottom of voter turnout in the entire country, and it has to do with the legislation that is being passed by some extremists, but
people feel that no one cares anymore.
Yeah, and what we're really wanting to do with our campaign, and what we're seeing is this trend of, for far too long we've been fighting against something, right? It's always like, oh no, well, get engaged with politics because this thing is so bad, right? But what we're wanting to flip the narrative, right, and say you should get involved in this fight with us.
Yes,
because we are fighting for something, right? Not just against, but we're
not just fighting.
Something.
We're fighting to get things done.
Exactly.
Positive legislation that will impact your life in a positive way.
That's 100% right.
and not burning a bunch of books or banning a bunch of books and a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
You know.
100%. And it can be so easy to get caught up in this.
Oh yeah.
Polarization.
And I'm the first to admit.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I have. I've
Yeah.
gotten caught up in it.
Yeah. Same. But when you get into the nitty gritty, right? When you get into the trenches, right? In the community, and you
Right.
have these real conversations, you see, oh wow, like people, again, across party lines, we have more in common than we are led to
We
believe.
certainly do.
Yeah.
I mean, you drive on a road every day. You know,
Yeah.
you go through stop signs, you go through stoplights, you have a police department, you have a fire department, you know, you have emergency services, you know, all of these things that, you know, and goodness knows here in this community, this county, growth is, you know, and the legislature is going to have to, and I think, again, I had one guy talking about kicking the can down the road. The can's become a 55-gallon drum now, and we can't kick it anymore. You're going to break your ankle if you keep kicking it. And
Exactly.
the growth is going to have to be dealt with in the House, and the impact fees are one way of doing it. They've talked about it. I don't want to get into that right now because I know it's a complicated subject. I understand. But there's legislation, there are laws that keep this from being a possibility here in this county. And all of our local cities can do it. Smyrna can do it. The city of Murfreesboro can do it, you know. People say, well, they won't build a house here if you do that. You know, when we built our house back in 97, 98, hey, you know, I think then there was a fee, and it's not that way now, but it was like $2,000. I said, sure, you know, we got to do it because we're building schools. And I mean, this is going on back, you know, before the 2000s. Yeah. And I said, you know, it's $2,000, so pay it, you know. You got to do it, you know. And if you've got to do it, you got to do it. And I don't want to be raised, I don't want my kids going to school, you know. I want them to go to decent schools and not be around a bunch of dumbbells, you know. Okay, that'll help his campaign. He won't be back up here. Luis won't be back up here anymore. We're going to go to our first series of breaks. Luis Mata is here with us. He's running for your vote, asking for your vote in the 49th District. Jackson's on the board. We'll be back with you. This is Ed Raymer for the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. Stay with us. Back right after this. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, we do it all. Low-maintenance landscape design, retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now, you can reach them at 615-785-0384. Or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all. Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay, we are back. Thank you, Jackson. Appreciate it. Okay, Luis Mata is here, running for House of Representatives, 49th District. Tell people again what area this is, because I can't keep up with all you guys. I mean, they've cut them up so bad.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. What part of the county is this in?
So it is North Rutherford County. So it's basically halfway, basically, Waldron Road, all the way down to almost Medical Center Parkway in Murfreesboro.
That far?
That far, and then on the right border is Broad Street. So
right.
Murfreesboro Pike, there's a Broad Street, Lowry.
Okay.
And then the left-hand side goes over to like the Stewart's Creek High School area.
Stewart's Creek area, okay.
Yeah, so it goes a little bit past I-24 into that area. So,
right.
Yes, sir. Right up there.
How many constituents are there potentially in this area of people? Just to give me a number count roughly.
Around 60,000.
60. I was going to say 50. It's 60.
That's exactly right.
Okay. When's the last time they cut this thing up?
That's a great question.
And don't get me wrong, Republicans have done it, but now Democrats have done it too.
Yeah.
It's part of 100%. Politics. Yeah,
right.
I understand.
Right.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
Exactly. I mean, God, in 2020, that's your question. In 2020, following the census data, they redrew the district maps for the congressional and the state as well. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So it was in 2020. Of course, this district, District 49, was cut up and chopped up, and here we are.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I know for folks in more of the Laverne area, the other part of Laverne, the top part of Laverne, we have basically the bottom part of it.
Right.
But the north part of Laverne got chopped off and is now in a separate House district.
Right. Okay.
The area of Lake Forest, that area right there, has now been taken out of District 49 and into a separate House district.
Okay. Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a lot of. I mean, as we were saying, it's a tactic. It's a tactic that's.
But people
used,
are people.
So, yeah.
People are people. They all want to. I really believe that people want to see.
Yeah.
They may not want to talk. Some people, they're not as open and talkative as you and I might be. If you're going to be in politics, you got to be talkative. I never known anybody in my life in politics. Hi, how are you doing? You know what I mean? That's really not going to get it, But at least to see you. How do they get hold of you? How do they find out something about you? Bound to have some websites or Facebook or whatever. How do they reach you?
Yeah, everything, right? So we are.
Spell your name for them so they'll know.
Luis, Luis, last name Mata, Mata.
Okay.
Our website is voteluismata.com, and we're on all social media platforms at Vote Luis Mata. I also give my personal phone number out. It's on our literature that we give out to people. As we were talking earlier, right? I believe that as a representative, we should be on speed dial for all the people in the district.
Yeah, not just a few, not just a handful,
exactly.
not just your donors. Yeah,
100%, exactly right.
Right. Okay.
So we give that out, and people can give me a call at 615-768-9221, and I'm always down to talk and have these conversations about our campaign's vision. That's right.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Is this for us? We have a caller on the line. Hold on a minute. Jackson will get you on. Hello, caller. Go right ahead.
Mr. Raymer, how you doing?
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. I just want to ask Mr. Mott. Mr. Mott, I hope the campaign is going on. I want to tell you guys that there was an article in today's paper about the redistricting y'all were talking about. There was a 3-judge panel that dismissed the case, but they can come back and bring it back in another time. The lawsuit they had, I think the Democrats had filed. I guess I'm not sure, but that it dropped it or whatever you want to call it for now. So, like you said, both parties do it, so it's not anything new.
Now, Jeff, are you in his district here?
No, I'm not. Okay. I'm not in his district. No, I don't. But I have met him. He seems like a really good candidate, and I did want to ask him about what he thinks about the choice lanes. They're going to be 24 first off from over here to national, what he thinks about those. They say 2027 when they'll be finished, and I would ask him what he thinks about that. His opponent says we have a choice whether to drive that lane or not, but what do you think about that, Mr. Mata?
What do you think?
Jeff, thank you so much, Jeff, for calling in. I think that's a fantastic question, and I think that is absolutely we need to be talking about that. We need to be talking about
and
that.
Also, he didn't want to build any schools either. He's for school choice, but he didn't want to build no schools. So I don't know what you're going to do. I guess everybody will be homeschooled. I guess everybody, all the parents will stay home, won't work. They just have to, homeschool their kids. So he don't want to spend any money either. So
how are they supposed to live? How are they going to make money?
We go out and homeschool our kids. I guess the government will pay for their rent and everything. I guess his opponent will pay for everybody's rent in Rutherford County and everything. So I guess that's what he wants to do, because he said school choice is a thing, but he don't want to build any schools. He says it's unsustainable to build these high schools and things, middle schools. And we can't keep spending money. If we've already that one, the elementary school is about $60 million. That's already approved, but he said we can't keep spending money. We're going to be in debt and all this business. So I guess we can't have any services or anything, roads or I guess my garbage will be all over the street when they won't pick it up. So I guess we'll have a trashy town or city, I reckon. But I just wanted to call about those issues. I'll hang out and listen. I enjoy your show every week, Edwin Lee, and have a good week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff Neal, loyal listener of this broadcast and of this station. Thank you, Jeff, very much.
Yeah.
What's going on with this thing down here? Have you had any scuttlebutt on this? I mean,
oh yeah. Okay.
No,
this is the topic of discussion right now, and just to paint a picture, as we were talking about, Rutherford County is one of the fastest growing counties in the state,
if not the country.
If not the and we knew that we were going to grow 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. People knew that we were going to grow. Again,
sure.
As is the common theme that we're seeing. Right, a common theme of leadership failure and neglect and kicking the can. We are now in the situation where we are right now, where we cannot fund the growth, right, and because of leadership inaction.
Right.
And
schools take up a huge chunk of the county budget. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, and so what we're seeing as a result of that, we are spending hours of our day in traffic. We are spending the kids are in schools that are underfunded. They are overcrowded. And I'll answer all these questions, but there's a story of when I was at the doors, there was this guy, he came outside of his door. He pointed at the school that was right outside of his neighborhood. He walked there. It was less than a football field away. He says, I cannot take my child to that school because it's overcrowded, because it's underfunded. Portables aren't a solution, I think, for anybody listening here. Portables are not a solution. We can't just keep building more portables and saying we're doing something. You know what I mean? So he pointed at the school. He was like, it's overcrowded because it's underfunded. So now I got to take my child, 5 miles down the road with this traffic takes us 30, 45 minutes extra instead of me being able to just walk down the street to take my child to that school, right? So these are the real impacts that we're seeing on working families, on families here in Rutherford County in District 49 because of lack of proactive leadership and lack of going up there to get things done in our state legislature, right?
Yes.
And so what you're saying, what the question was, the choice lanes, that is now another one of these initiatives that we're seeing. Basically what it is that it's a toll lane. It's a toll lane on I-24. I-24 is the corridor right here that runs right through the middle of District 49.
Yes, it does.
And as you know, a lot of people have been priced out of Nashville. They're moving into District 49.
Right.
A lot of them still work in Nashville, right? A lot of people in Murfreesboro still work in Nashville.
They may have had a 20, 25-year career there with the company, and, they're not going to just walk away from it.
That's exactly right. And even if they don't work there, a lot of folks do, but even if you work and live here in the district, what these toll lanes do, the legislation was the Modernization Act that was passed, Governor Lee's project to incorporate toll lanes. And they're able to incorporate these toll lanes in state highways, state roads, right?
Okay.
So in theory, they could be on Sam Ridley. You know what I mean?
Sure. I can see that. Sure.
But I'll to kind of lay it out with the facts, it's they're wanting to put these what they're calling choice lanes, where if you want to use them, you can. They're voluntary, and you can jump on these lanes, and you'll pay for them. You'll pay. That's the key.
Now that
right
is
there.
the question I was asking my wife. How is this money supposed to be paid? Do you get a pass you hang on your mirror? Or
So they're wanting to use exactly right. They're where it's the new technology. You slap it on your mirror, and when you pass by, you'll get a bill in the mail, right? So, but here's the thing, right? The bottom line is that, again, our campaign's vision is a Rutherford County that works for working families, right?
True.
So, what this is doing is that it's making working families have to pay an additional fee to get to work.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
So now folks who, essentially what this project is, it's a luxury for folks who can afford it.
Sure.
Right? It's a luxury to say, hey, I need to get out of traffic. Let me pay for this. And let me jump on one of these lanes, which we don't even know if this is actually going to solve the issue of traffic congestion, which is what we need to take proactive action on right now. You know what I mean? Right now. I was talking to somebody about that. We've been having these conversations about the toll lanes time and time again since this was presented. And I was talking to somebody who is a college student, right? 18 years old, college student, and they were like, I don't want to be in construction. I don't want to be in this construction for the next 20 years of my life. So the caller, Jeff, mentioned the year 2027. That's when they're going to start construction on this, right? The projected date is in the 2050s. That's unacceptable. Like
sure.
We have people right now who, again, like, we're spending a majority of our time sitting in traffic, and it's like we want to go. We want to go. We want to get to work. We want to go enjoy time with our families. We want to.
Well, my wife did before she retired.
Yeah.
And she just worked at Laverne down at Ingram Book. Was an accountant there for 35 years. And she'd spend over an hour a day, hour in the afternoon, and that's just going to Laverne.
Yeah.
And we've got a pretty good road system set up from where we are. Hit Joe B. Jackson, hit 24, go down. Normally it's not that big a deal. If you go on the weekends or late in the evening when everything's cleared out, it's not the big deal. But in the morning at 7 o'clock, forget it, man.
Yeah.
No.
That's
and
exactly
we are talking and realizing, Luis, and I'm sure, I know you do, we all realize this is not a simple answer for this. You mentioned 2027. Yeah. Okay, I mean, well, there's no pat answer to say, okay, we're going to do it this way and it'll be done in 6 months. Not going to happen.
Exactly.
And so, son, welcome to the deep end of the pool.
Exactly. You're exactly
really.
Right.
Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. Mama always told us that too. Be careful what you wish for. But I mean, there is not a simple answer to this because this growth, managing people, and that's what we're talking about, is moving people. And I notice these buses, more and more people are utilizing these buses to go back and forth. And I know if I was working downtown Nashville, I probably would too. I mean,
oh yeah, and the other thing here is that, and I'll be fair, they're going through a public information meeting portion. What follows is a public hearing portion. So they are, and for folks listening, please go to the TDOT website, and there is an opportunity to share your public comment on what you think about the choice lanes, right? So there is the community feedback aspect to it, but after the funding has already been allocated, you know what I mean? And so that's the other part here is that and I will say, one of from the side that's pro choice lanes, pro toll lanes, what I'm hearing is, it's voluntary. It's voluntary. If you don't want to use it and don't want to pay for it, don't pay for it. You know what I mean? But that, like, if you think about it, we already paid for it. This is public tax dollars.
Sure. I know. I know.
It can be so easy to say, "Oh, well, I don't really care. It's voluntary. I'll just choose not to." And it's like, but why? Why?
Well, it's like my wife and I, in our case, we don't go to Nashville that much anymore, unless we go out. If we want to go for, if there's a show down there, or to go to my son and I are taking a basketball game when Kentucky comes to Vanderbilt, taking a basketball. Generally, that month is always February when Kentucky makes it to town. That's different. That's different.
Right.
That's at our convenience. We choose to do that. Most of these people are having to drive to work 5, some of them 6 days a week.
Exactly.
And then the HOV lanes, for example, and that's what we're talking about, okay? The HOV is only from like 4 to 6 or something, 3 to 6 every afternoon, and then in the morning 6 till 9 or whatever, something like that.
Right.
That's the only time it's enforced. Other times after that, everybody's free to drive in the HOV. Occupancy HOV. You have to have at least 2 people in the vehicle with you, as always has been, and that's where my blow up doll came in handy, because it saved me many a ticket from a state trooper. And he'd drive by and, "Hey, buddy, that's a good looking gal you got there." "Yes, she's cute." And so I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'll get serious here one of these days. I don't know. I haven't been serious in my life. I don't know why I should start now. But that's what you're talking about. The HOV lanes is what they are. They're, But now we're talking about something totally different. We're talking about if I drove myself, I could get a permit or pay a fee or whatever the case with the new technology, and
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're wanting to expand, right, I-24. So they're wanting to, and I went down there. I went to the info session that they had in Smyrna. It was a great meeting, great information. They're wanting to expand it, a couple lanes. They're thinking of doing some sort of it's like a ramp for it. But again, as we're talking about, yes, we understand that it is voluntary, but at the end of the day, why should we settle for that with our public tax dollars, right? It's our public tax dollars that are going into this. Why not demand more, right? Demand better from our leadership. That's the bottom line. And the other part is that when it comes to these types of initiatives, it's like, okay, well, look, the fees that you're paying into to use the tolls, the toll lane fees that you're paying. Oh, well, cool. Let it come back for public goods, goods and services.
Okay.
Right? Well, here's the thing, Ed. There's the public-private partnership for this, right?
PPP.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a private company that's going to come in and help out with the cost of this. So what that says is that these tolls that you're paying, part of it is going to go to a private company, right? So what we're seeing is, again, and the same thing with the vouchers, right?
I know. Okay.
It's there's this trend, right? There's this trend of privatizing what should be a public good or public service, right? We are paying into this. Why, with our public tax dollars, why should we not expect more in return, right? So it's this, again, another, it's a pattern that we're seeing of privatization and.
Yeah, they're wanting to privatize everything. Kind of the public money into private schools and charter schools and all that. That's a big topic right now. Right. I have a email for you here, or a text for you. Ed, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Mata on his candidacy and ask for his support when elected as an advocate for infrastructure dollars for Rutherford County. Also, I've become aware that a French financial company is rumored to be the partner with TDOT on the choice lanes. How does Mr. Mata feel about Tennesseans' hard-earned money going to France for toll roads?
Well, I mean...
Oui, monsieur. Yeah.
I guess now is where those 3 years of French I took in high school are going to
Merci beaucoup. I believe I know who this is from. Merci beaucoup for the text message. Thank you.
That's impressive, man. That's impressive. No,
Oh, you don't hear me speak English, buddy. I can speak it all. I speak 7 different languages, yeah. Just like that Pete Buttigieg. I think the guy does speak 6 or 7 languages. I don't know how he keeps up, Good question, though. How do you feel about money? And I know we have to go to out of state sources lots of times for they bid things. I understand it, but out of country sources, that's news to me right there.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we it's our public tax dollars, as we were talking about with the vouchers, right? Our public, the way that we're talking, our public tax dollars belong in public schools, right?
Right.
In Tennessee.
That's the way we've always. That's what it should be.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, and the same applies here with our infrastructure. We have families that are truly at and we see this every day when we're out on the doors, that are struggling to get by. They are struggling.
Literally.
You know this, right? They're struggling to get by. They can barely afford rent. They're having to decide between putting food on the table or seeking the medical care that they need, right?
Sure, and a lot of this is before you ever buy groceries.
Yeah.
And,
right.
Eggs are high. Things are going to be, it's eggs, bread, milk, all that,
Exactly.
And
yeah.
They're not easy. These are not easy things to talk about.
Yeah.
And especially for politicians to deal with,
Yeah. And I think that when we zoom out, we're seeing how time and time again we are losing sight of what is important because our current leadership, my opponent, extremists in our legislature, continue to choose big corporations and the wealthy few lining their pockets over working families, right? And over the best interest of working families. And that is what we continue to see time and time again. So that's, we're seeing that right now with this entire project. And
we're not talking about just a box of Cracker Jacks here. We're talking about tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. It's going to be some serious money.
I mean, imagine what that could do here in Rutherford County to fund the growth, right? That's the question. How are we going to fund the growth that we're seeing here in Rutherford County? We have clearly the tools at our disposal, but we just need the political will and action.
Well, like I said, when they had to do it for us 25 years ago or more than that now, when we built our house, yes, I have a fee. I've got to pay it. That was $2,000. It's probably equivalent to about $4,000 or $5,000 today. We didn't say, well, I'm not going to build that house. I ain't paying that $2,000. Yes, I did because I wanted to have a home here in Rutherford County. I had to pay it. Me and wife had to pay it, And, to be honest with you, I really didn't think that much about it. It's, people should know when they come here, this is not going to be a walk in the park. This, because of the growth we've had. Yeah. And I don't think, and here's the thing, I don't think most people, they understand this. They're not against this. They're moving here because, first of all, they moved here because we had good schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that's the thing that draws many adults with children. It's, what's the school system like? That'd be one of the first questions they ask, Yeah. And, it's one of the things that I sometimes, I'm like you. I believe you can't believe what you're seeing and sometimes what you're hearing or things being proposed. We're going to go to our last series of breaks when Jackson gets back in here. Tell folks again how they get hold of you, Luis.
Absolutely. Luis, Luis, last name Mata. Website is voteluismata.com.
Right.
Or you can follow us on all of our social media handles at voteluismata.com. You can also give me a personal phone call, shoot me a text message, 615-768-9221.
You're around. Okay. Jackson's back in here. We're going to go with our last series of breaks here. Luis Mata is with us, candidate for District 49. I'm Ed Raymer for the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. Jackson's on the board. Back with you right after this. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. If you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, we do it all. Low maintenance landscape design, retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now you can reach them at 615-785-0384. Or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all. Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Thank you, Jackson, and appreciate you. And Luis is here, and you know, unfortunately, with politics, it gets down to money, the public's money, and how do you want it spent? You know,
Right.
and we know with us being such a fast-growing community. And you know, these other counties are having their problems too. Williamson County, Wilson County. I've been to Lebanon. You know, used to live over there years ago, or close by. I lived in Mount Juliet. Not the same place, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. I mean, and it just goes on and on and on. And, you know, so like I said, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. You know.
No, I mean you're exactly right. The money is, it. You know, it. Here's the thing: a budget is a moral document, right?
Right.
A budget, and the way that I think about it is the way that we're spending our money, right? Not just an official budget, but a budget is a moral document, right?
Sure.
It showcases where our priorities lie. It showcases what we think deserves investment, what we don't think deserves investment. So I genuinely believe that a budget and or slash the way we spend our money is a moral document.
And no one is going to get their way.
Yeah.
I heard Barack Obama say this once. He said, if you think you're going to get in politics and everything's always going to go the way you want, so you need to just go ahead and leave now. So because it's never going to be that way. And that's from a man I think that had been down the road a time or two.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you think you're going to get everything you want, even though everything you want is decent and pure and good, sometimes things don't go the way we picture. You know,
you're exactly right, and I think that I love that you brought this up, Ed, because at the end of the day, if you are sticking to your values and leading with your values, there's no possible way that you're going to make everybody happy. Right?
That's true. That's true.
But here's the thing: we should be able to have those conversations and disagree without being disagreeable. Right? We should be able to say, "Hey, and having these conversations about I don't think that this is a good decision because of X. I do think this is a good decision because of why. I think that's how politics should be, right? It should be having real conversations about real issues and how we can work to find the real solutions together, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, right, you might disagree.
Sure.
But as I mentioned, right, you can let's disagree without being disagreeable. But right now, what we're seeing again from folks like at our current state leadership is
true
that they've veered so far away from that to where every chance they get, it goes into division, partisan politics,
right?
Instead of how can we work together to get things done. And I think that adds to the reason for why people are so disengaged with this and disengaged with politics right now, because they
and I'm sure in your travels over the last several months, you've had some people when you went up on the porch, I'm running for office,
oh yeah,
what do you do? I mean, and you can understand that. I do, but when you get to talking to people, a good friend of mine here, he's been a friend of this station, Mr. Murfreesboro himself, Bill Wilson. He's got a saying that's always stayed with me. We must agree to disagree agreeably.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very true. And Bill believes that. We're all not going to see things eye to eye. On a couple things we might. But, I've seen these legislatures, and this is happening all over the country,
right,
where majority of people, 80% of people want a background check before a person goes to buy a gun.
Mm-hmm.
No one's listening.
No.
Of the constituent, no one of the elected officials, they're not listening.
Yeah.
And it's bound to be disheartening for the Democrats that are sitting down at the state capitol. It's just ridiculous. People that want the public wants this. There's public outcry for these major things, and that does in some way affect what the office you're running for.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And as you mentioned, right now we have seen the way that we were talking about money, right? Money just plays so. It for so many people has run politics for such a long time, right? And not just money, but it's like big donors. The corporate PACs, and as you were mentioning, right? A majority of Tennesseans agree that we deserve safe and responsible gun ownership laws, right? Common sense.
Agreed.
Gun violence prevention.
Common sense.
Common sense. And, but instead of prioritizing the lives of children, educators, students, our families, people have prioritized the gun lobby, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we're seeing that in all across the board, right? Where it's
right.
Instead of listening to the real concerns that our communities have, it's okay. Well, I got a big donor here who actually, is who I'm going to prioritize.
Sure.
And that
because they're going for the cash.
Yeah. Exactly. And that right there is exactly, again, another reason why, being at the doors, I've heard with people, people are like, oh God, they're like, can you tell me why people go into politics and then they get elected and then a couple years later they're millionaire, I think
right.
more so talking about like congressional in DC, but
sure, the DC people, you're not going to get this way on state politics. You're not getting to this for the money,
right? Right, and
really
and I
not.
think that's exactly where the importance of talking about our message and talking about our message in a forward, positive-looking way is the key here, right? It's saying, hey,
sure.
I want to represent you. I want to fight for you in your best interests. Again, we can disagree on some things. You can your historical voting data might not be what my party is, but at the end of the day, I want to represent you in our state capitol, right?
Sure.
And that's it, right? That's the bottom line. I want to make sure that you understand that government has your backs, because that is what it should be.
Right.
It should be that. It shouldn't be about, big donors, the lobbyists.
Right.
It should be about the people, right? And that's again, with these conversations that we're having time and time again at the doors, that's the desire that people want, is the true representation of how politics should be.
Well, we're seeing this especially at a local level, where well, my vote don't really count. That happens in presidential politics only. This electoral college, we're seeing races won by less than 100 votes. I mean, this can happen. We had one race, I think a guy won by like 6 votes. I think it was a road board or something like that. Not a race like what you're running. But that, I mean, your mother can get 6 votes just by picking up the phone calling some people. I mean, I'll guarantee she can. And I mean, it's making a difference. It really is. And people, I think, are becoming aware. And, you talked about the gun lobby. Their hooks are not in near as good as they used to be. They're still there. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to pack up their fold tents and go home.
Right.
But it's not like it used to be.
Exactly.
And that's the way it should. They should be, please, that's enough,
Yes. No, you said it perfectly. As the saying goes, right? If you want to see change, be that change, right? I always say what my mom always taught me was that if you want change, you don't wait for it, you fight for it, right? And
you have to.
We all we all have so much that we can do to contribute to a better future for all of us, right? Our freedoms, our futures, and our families depend on it, right? And as you're saying, right, like having these conversations, making these phone calls, knocking on these doors, it makes a real difference, right? And
it sure does.
As you're saying, and there was one of the surrounding counties, one of the races was a tie.
All right.
They tied.
Yeah.
Here in Tennessee. And so every single conversation is so important. And that's at the end of the day, as we were talking at the beginning, right? We're going back to the basics. We're doing this the old-fashioned way, having these real conversations. That's what it's all about.
And we're going to vote for you on November the 5th.
Yes, sir.
We don't know yet
5th.
what the early voting schedule is. I'm sure that will be coming out next week. Is the 1st of September, so you got September and October. You're rounding that final turn now at the Derby, and you're going to head down that long stretch.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, look up. It's only going to be 100 degrees the next 6 days. Okay.
Yeah. No.
There's no break in sight. So this is when the rubber meets the road.
100%.
And this is, after Labor Day, which is next Monday, that's when people start getting concerned about politics. So
Yes, sir.
Luis Mata has been our guest tonight. He's campaigning for your vote in District 49. Thank you so much for doing this, and I hope to have you back up maybe in a month or 4 or 5 weeks, and let's see how this thing is going. Okay?
Thank you so much, Ed. So much. October 7th, last day to register to vote. Early voting is October 16th through 31st. See you November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. And for the Edwin Raymer Show, I'm Ed Raymer, and I'll tell you what, till next Sunday at 8 o'clock, I'll catch you down the road. Good night.